one can afford it. Can't have Super Bowl level lights as in Tulsa.
Yeah. 7,000 seat right here.
I will say, I would love to go to the Super Bowl just to watch the game, but it would be very interesting to see the people there.
Oh,
because
no kidding. Oh, yeah.
It would be, besides business people that were gifted tickets, the people that actually bought the tickets,
yeah.
I'm just saying the caliber of audience would be very interesting.
Oh, it would be interesting. Did you see that picture of that one guy who was asleep at the Super Bowl?
No.
Oh, yeah. He was right about here. He was out. And they were saying that position was $7,000. You fell asleep?
I hope it was a gift.
I hope so, too.
Well, while temperatures outside are below freezing, competition in the American certainly been heating up entering this second month of conference play. Golden Hurricane, welcome to town, the Knights of UCF for this clash on the American Digital Network as we showcase American women's basketball once again here on ADN. Take a look at the standings in the American. UConn at 9-0. We saw Tulane yesterday pick up their third loss in their last 4 games. Who handed them that loss? Well, Memphis at the bottom. Anything is possible in this conference. Tulsa certainly hopes so as they are trying to continue to climb up the standings and improve their opportunity come tournament time in the conference tournament at the start of March. On that note, we welcome you in. Lincoln Rose along with Coach Angela Beck. Of course, UCF's been one of the favorites ever since they were your runner-up last year in that conference tournament. But at 4-4, injury bug, they have not been immune. It is a wide-open race for that number 2 seed.
Well, definitely. And in January, they've lost 3 out of 4 on the road, so that's good news for Tulsa. But Tulsa's going to have to shoot the ball better. They're shooting 31% from the field, and they're not getting enough scores in double figures, so they're going to have to settle in and really shoot the ball well.
For the Knights out of Orlando, they've been alternating wins and losses. What will it take for them to find a victory here in Oklahoma?
Well, they're great at forcing turnovers, so if they force turnovers, it'll ignite their offense. They also need to push the tempo and continue to dribble penetrate.
As for Matilda Mossman's women, how can they defend their home court?
Well, to get better shooting percentage, attack the basket and get to the line, and then limit their fouls. They've been in foul trouble several times.
Well, one of the reasons why the Knights are among your favorites this year, your preseason all-conference player of the year, KK Wright. Hard to believe she's already a senior.
Well, they say she had a breakout year last year, but she's breaking it out this year too. She has 1,400 career points already, and she's just doing it on both ends. She's leading in assists, she's leading in three-point percentage, and she's also breaking you down with that dribble.
Question is, which of her teammates will step up around her? Meanwhile, for Tulsa, of course, all eyes on yet another standout senior in Addison Richards.
Well, she's given them a much-needed offensive input. Last game she led all scorers with 9 points. They need a few more in double figures, but she scored double figures in 7 of the games, and they're looking for her to have a big game here tonight.
Pride of Bixby, Oklahoma, trying to lead her Golden Hurricane to an upset on their home court. Snow unable to get in the way. Opening tip-off coming up on time here on ADN.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity.
This is big, baby!
So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths Because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
Getting closer to opening tip, let's take a look at your starting lineups for both squads. Of course, for UCF, you know all about some of the headliners, but it's Brittany Smith now is just a sophomore who's really continuing to elevate her game for the year, averaging 11 points per contest, but the last 10 games has been near brilliance. And for Tulsa, of course, the story, no Alexis Golden. Continues to be the case, available in the starting five here today. But the good news is who we do have available, and that's Bruce Howard on the sidelines. Bruce? Checking with Bruce after the national anthem.
Guys, one of the big concerns, obviously, here in the Tulsa area was 4 to 6 inches of snow. The campus was closed here at the University of Tulsa and no classes. However, if you can get a team here, and that's UCF, and they are here, and if you can get officials here, and they are here, then it's game on, no question about it. For UCF and their head coach, Katie Abrahamson Henderson, you know, she played at Iowa, so she's used to the snow. She coached at Missouri. She's used to the snow. And, of course, she coached also in Albany, New York, so she's used to the snow. No problem there. What she said about her team is obviously they got to play harder than the opposition. If you don't play harder than the opposition, she doesn't think the Knights have a chance to win. So they have to play harder than Tulsa in today's game, no question about it. And they have to set the tone in this game. They have to set the tone and be better than Tulsa in the early going. For Matilda Mossman, the head coach at the University of Tulsa, very simply, stop UCF's transition game, and 2, make some shots. Tulsa's last right now in the American Athletic Conference in scoring, and they're also next to last in shooting at 36% from the field. So there's no question about it. University of Tulsa has to shoot the ball a little bit better in order to be successful, according to Coach Mossman. And they are getting some good shots. They just need to make them. And so there's snow outside. It's cold outside. Both coaches, though, do not want to translate that into cold shooting inside. Guys?
Yeah, Bruce, thank you very much. Of course, he touched on how Coach Abe has various stops in some snowy climates. She is loving life in Orlando, looking out her window at home at palm trees every morning when she wakes up. Katie Abrahamson Henderson, 4th year at the helm. 3 different schools that she has led the NCAA tournament. Took UCF last year after finishing runner-up in Connecticut at the conference tournament to UConn. And, of course, comes in as one of the favorite programs. But she points out, look, we come in, even with some of the big names returning, including KK Wright, this is a group with so many new players, 9 new players this year, and yet they still have a target on their back because everybody thinks of us as that team last year that was runner-up.
Well, sometimes it's hard when you have a player like KK Wright because everyone expects so much from you because you have this great player, this preseason picked and all this. But she's the first Knight ever picked, so it's not like they're rich in tradition where they have all these great players sitting on the bench, you know, waiting. She's creating this atmosphere for her team, and, you know, she's making it happen.
Of course, it's the Play for K night here at Tulsa, Breast Cancer Awareness Month in February, but you'll see extra pink highlights throughout this month while watching American women's basketball, including the jacket of Matilda Mossman in her 9th year, the former Hilltopper at Western Kentucky. Again, spent time at Arkansas, K-State, has now been at Tulsa for nearly a decade. Had a quick dip in Norman at the high school level before the Golden Hurricane were able to bring her back to the college ranks. But has provided some nice consistency. Again, last year, though, had a team that was being led by a couple of freshmen. They mature into sophomores this year. Still a work in progress.
Yeah, her lineup's still a work in progress. Today, you can see that she's inserted Richards and Biddle in there, and those guys have been giving them offense lately, with Richards coming off with 9, and Biddle's had 9 double-scoring games. So putting them in there, I think, is going to give. She needs more offense. I mean, last game she only scored in the 40s, so they've got to put more points on the board.
So Coach Abe and Coach Mossman with their teams colliding. This is the only scheduled meeting between these two teams this year. They could very well meet in the conference tournament next month. But look, we don't go into any of these games knowing we assume the outcome, even when you look at the records in conference play. UCF at 4-4, Tulsa sitting on their lone victory thus far. Of course, Tulsa earlier this year in conference play, finding that lone win at the expense of ECU right here at the Reynolds Center.
If you go back to January 4th when Tulsa lost to Temple in OT, and January 7th they lose to Tulane in OT, that can change their game. I mean, that changes their whole year with those 2 OT losses. Then they only have 1 win for the conference. So it gets you buried in there, and it's tough.
Almost every team in the American after 1 month of play has multiple what-ifs. That includes UCF. We mentioned they've been alternating wins and losses since mid-January when they picked up that loss to UConn, beat USF in a bounce-back game, but they lost to Tulane in New Orleans by 1. They lost in Philadelphia to Temple by 2. Otherwise, the Knights could very well be 6-2 and right there firmly planted as the number 2 seed right now.
Yeah, I think the year they had last year put a little heavy weight on their shoulder because they had to kind of come out and do better, and they were preseason picked 3rd. So it's been a lot to take, but they're doing a good job with it.
In rows, Angela Beck, Bruce Howard, along with our ADN crew in Tulsa. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday evening. We were treated to a great one in Memphis yesterday between the Tigers and the Green Wave. Look forward to being back at it 24 hours later in Tulsa. Early turnover, an opportunity for Tulsa wearing the pink on this play for K9.
Well, of course, Tulsa comes out with the man-to-man, and the Knights come out in this standard 3-2 defense that they have that just causes people fits. We'll see if Tulsa can overload the baseline and find the middle of this zone where it's weak.
Gendry Elliott, your 6'2 senior out of Wichita, helping lead things at the top of the perimeter. Foul here on UCF.
Now, I want to preface, Lincoln, that I don't mean they're weak. I mean where it could be weak. It's a very tough 3-2 defense, and she's learned this from a lot of coaches that she's been with. But it's a great zone. They're comfortable with it, but you got to find a weakness, and it's right there in the middle, and it's on the baseline.
UCF with a turnover on its first possession, and it looks like Tulsa will return the favor, although no, we have possession arrow favoring the home squad. It'll stay on this end.
Well, it's good for Tulsa. They've had a couple good defensive stops. Here this time, offensively they didn't do well, but some good things have happened here early for them.
So no reset of the shot clock with possession staying with Tulsa. Open look finally. Evening it up, a decent look as time expires for Madison Richards, but it won't go down for the senior. And this will be a long 2 as UCF, the first on the board, able to knock it down. Masani Kaba.
That's a good look for Masani. Look for UCF to push tempo and try to get a quick shot, a good shot, but a quick shot before they get set.
Boy, Kaba's been a fun one to watch ever since she was able to make an impact as a freshman a couple years ago. Baseline stroke off the mark. Hauled in by Brittany Smith, who's averaging about 5 boards a game.
One of the things Matilda was worried about with Tulsa is that they dribble too much. And in that possession, they did not dribble at all. They didn't make the shot, but it was a good sign.
Anytime they can get Kaba the ball that low, they will take it. A foul this time around on Tulsa.
That's a good look. Kaba gets squared up, puts a power move, and you can't ask anything more from the big girl.
So you're always thrilled when you have a senior like KK Wright. The problem when we talked to Coach Abe a couple weeks back is sometimes her teammates just sit back and enjoy the show.
Well, exactly. She wants them to do more and move more off the ball.
Here is the aforementioned headliner.
It's hard to do more and move more when you get that kind of result. Just dribble, drive, and swish.
She's from Jones High School out of Orlando. Didn't have to use a lot of the recruiting budget to go find her at the time.
Nice block there by Kaba.
And UCF last year runner-up to UConn after going 13-3 in the regular season. Already more losses this year in conference play. Mind you, UCF, you look at their schedule, the teams they have to play twice, and it includes all the teams ahead of them right now in the standings. You can look at that one of 2 ways. Brittany Smith, again, the last 10 games has really found her stride and comes through there.
Well, they need a little more ball pressure. You can't give the vision like they have to the big girl on the inside like Smith, because she's going to finish.
But UCF will see Temple, Cincinnati, UConn all for a second time this year. And if you're a glass half full, that means you can try to help really climb the standings by taking matters into your own hands. A turnover here on Wright and company.
Well, great defense by Morgan Brady. She held her ground. Even though KK was giving her a little stutter, juke, and jive, she held her ground and drew the charge.
Tulsa is 0 for 3. UCF is 3 for 3. Just mishandled, able to make the most of it. Nice recovery, good composure by Richards.
Yeah, nice finish by Richards. A little fumble finger that they've got, but, you know, they're trying to make something happen quickly, and I like what they're doing here early.
She has moved to that power forward role, that 4 position, from really more of a 2 or 3, and it has really benefited, leading to more success for her. Her teammate Elliott hauling in that one. Kendra and Elliott getting closer to 1,000 career points, something they weren't necessarily expecting for the senior, but really had a lot of success early on. And while Tulsa did not have success early on, now perhaps finding a rhythm, KK Rodriguez.
Well, that's a pretty good score there for Rodriguez. She only averages 2.2 for the year, so that's a pretty good take.
A long 2 from Rodriguez, who's really become a spark plug for this Tulsa team, whether it be on defense or in this case on the offensive end.
Well, it was nice that she took a little dribble penetration, found a seam in the zone, and pulled up and got a good look at the shot.
Both teams, I should say, UCF's already gone to its bench for 3 players, Martin Battles and Walker on the floor now. Ball with Georgia Gale, junior from England. And that ball out of bounds off of Tulsa, unable to bring in the rebound there. Last touch by Rodriguez. It'll stay with the Knights.
I'd like to see him take a little more time looking for Kaba, even though they've got a little defense on her there. If they move the ball around, Kaba is open, and she's averaging almost 8 points and 6.5 boards. So she's a good look inside and get some good inside out action. There we go. Tried to feed her that time.
And already that baseline's factored in quite a bit here early on. Tulsa trying to bounce back. Its most recent loss was in Memphis. That was a game where the Tigers at one point found a 14-0 run against Tulsa. We saw an early slow start, but Tulsa's battled back within 2 here after the first 6 points belonged to UCF. A wide open spaces, and the layup drops through for Diamond Battles, your point guard.
Well, you got to contain the basketball, and that didn't happen in that series. You got to keep the ball in front of you, and they had a direct line to the basket.
Sophomore has developed a well-deserved reputation for being able to distribute, drop some dimes to her teammates. Rodriguez a little short there. Able to throw it off the opponent, and a heads-up play by Gale.
Shooting percentage-wise from three-point, it's been a struggle for Tulsa. Last game they did it in the double digits, just like I think it was like a 12 or 13%. And they need to shoot, they need to shoot it better. But if you're not shooting it good, you need to get it inside off dribble drive.
Knights able to score last 2 points, stretch the lead back to 4 here early on. You see they've yet to attempt one from downtown Tulsa. Gale tries to work it in with the bounce pass to Kaba. Tulsa able to come away with it. 4:45 still to go in this opening quarter. A tight one. Knights on the road looking to pick up a victory at the expense of the home squad, Golden Hurricane.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity.
This is big, baby!
So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story. so far.
Tell me how I look in the this is the new regime. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Run up to the game, you'll remember my name. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
Undeniable.
Welcome back to Tulsa. Golden Hurricanes still huddling up here in the midst of this first time out of the opening quarter. As Tulsa early on just 2 for 6 from the floor. UCF conversely 4 of 6. UCF has already gotten half of its points from its bench. We mentioned it is a new look UCF squad. As much as we talk about KK Wright, Masani Kaba, a new cast of characters surrounding them, but certainly familiar faces around Coach Abe. You talk about her staff still in place all 4 years that they've been together here in Orlando, and that is certainly a great benefit when you're welcoming in so many new players.
Yeah, a couple of these staff members actually played for her, so, you know, they obviously know her system, her temperament and everything. And, you know, she gives the defense to Valerio, and that's a pretty big thing to give to an assistant. And so their identity is kind of what Valerio's put on the floor, and Coach works on the offense and she works on the defense. So it's kind of nice.
And Coach East, Coach Keisha as well, of course, former standout WNBA star and UConn Husky. All 3 of them playing for Coach Abe at various points.
Yeah, I think when she got Nikisha Sales 2 years ago, you know, she just talked about how just having her presence, you know, elevated the type of play that they have. And you have to imagine somebody with her history and her, you know, the being where she's been in her life and in the pros. It's just a great asset no matter what.
Yeah, Sales is one of those, when you get them to agree to join your staff, you're thinking maybe 1 year, maybe 2. But it has really been a nice bond there. And she has stuck around. Wright will fire one, and that one's saved out on the perimeter. Last 4 meetings between these two teams have all gone to UCF. This series used to be tied 7-all, as the Knights now regain a 6-point advantage.
Yeah, speaking of the pro players, though, you know, you'd be surprised how many pro men players and women's players want to get back in the game, and they just don't have the opportunity. So I love the coaches that do, you know, encourage that and put them on their staffs.
Johnny Martin with that last shot for UCF and narrowly missed a steal there from Walker. Nine to shoot.
This is where they have a little problem. They just have trouble getting into their offense.
1 on 3, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, Kendra Elliott has to be a big player for them. She has to be the go-to person, and, you know, kudos to her, but she draws a crowd because everyone knows that she's the player, and good for the Knights for tripling her up right there.
Walker was well outside that restricted arc, the JUCO transfer out of Trinity Valley Junior College. Naya Walker, teammates nickname her Little Scrappy. Great setting screens, offensive boards, and you saw there taking the charge. Wright picks up her dribble. 9 to shoot. And the bump, trying to break up the pass. Rebecca Lasky, the product out of the Dallas area, Plano, Texas, south of here. And you see Brittany Smith coming back on. Again, Smith is only the second Knight to average double digits in scoring this year. KK averages 16 points, Brittany about 11 per contest. But Smith is scoring better than 50% from the floor this year. Nice consistency.
KK Rodriguez is doing a good job on Wright. She's causing trouble. So I knew that was going to happen when she scored on her right there. But really, this
KK on KK crime with a K.
Yeah, but in the series before that, she really caused her trouble. And, it's hard to keep and contain a player like her.
Not only 2 KKs, but we've got players whose nicknames are K. We'll try to work in last names as often as possible.
There hasn't been many transition offense opportunities, and I think, both teams need to press that button.
It's a 6-0 run for UCF. They won't be able to pile on here with the offensive foul.
Matilda talked about the fact she really wants Tulsa to be more of a transition team, but they just dribble it up and don't pass it ahead. And it's a hard thing to teach young players, but you do, you need to pass ahead, put the pressure on the other team to get set.
About a 4-minute drought for Tulsa after they had pulled back within 2.
Especially when you're playing this 3-2 defense, you don't want this defense to get set.
Open opportunity on the corner, and they're going to call an offensive foul at full speed. They thought they saw a little chicken wing there from Kendrian Elliott.
Well, that's Georgia Gale, and she's been playing really well lately for them. They called her the sniper. And
looked like there may have been one the way she went down. May have been a little embellishment.
Yeah, I think she was pretending.
Keep my thesaurus nearby. Approaching the final 2 minutes here in this opening frame. Wright pulls up baseline with a hand in her face. But you can take those shots when Moscaba is in the area. You know you're going to have somebody nearby. Create some second chance opportunities there. You see the shooting discrepancy here in Tulsa.
Well, Addison Richards, has been doing a pretty good job on the interior. That time she moved her feet and kept pushing. And so as she keeps pushing her under, that's called a foul.
Kaba is shooting 64% this year from the charity stripe. She's only missed 1 start this year, making her 20th appearance here tonight.
Both these coaches, as we talked in the opening, are super positive coaches. Their players like playing for them. They talk about not having a lot of drama on their team. That really is a kind of a reflection of the coach because you don't allow it, and you recruit the kind of players that can work in the system. So it's a credit to both of them. Even though Tulsa struggled a little bit, Matilda has a really positive attitude about her team and believes that they can be in any game.
Yeah, we are lucky we get to chat with all these coaches over the course of about 2.5 months. Tulsa finally ends a drought there, courtesy of Maddie Biddle, again, sophomore out of Bixby here in the Sooner State. And all of these coaches, you'd be happy to sign up to play for. They're able to communicate their vision so clearly. And frankly, they are so pleased with the young women that they have on their rosters. Happy to go to battle with them each and every night. Some impressive student athletes representing these programs in the American, including your preseason player of the year, co-player of the year in KK Wright for UCF. Kaba able to close to get a hand in the face, perhaps able to alter the shot. See if Wright creates for herself the turnover. Transition opportunity for Tulsa. Nice feed into space and free throws coming up.
Well, that was a heads-up play there on the weak side. Just heads-up play by Lasky. She steals the ball, throws it ahead, and makes the pass. Not a bad foul by Gale, although I don't think she could have made it. But she was just kind of stumbling with it, so not a great foul, but, at least she didn't come out with 2.
KK Rodriguez, the St. Louis native, with 1 more to go.
Sometimes it's tough to get your team to play really hard when you're on the road. You're in a different environment. Obviously it's snowing, and UCF isn't really used to having that kind of environment. So, you have to kind of wake them up a little bit. And right now they're kind of both playing, just average.
The foul on UCF there at midcourt, or pardon me, on Tulsa at midcourt. That's the 7th foul on Tulsa, but that is going to lead to a free throw opportunity here for Diamond Battles. 75% shooter from the line.
3.6 assists a game for her, so she really has been distributing it well for them. Not a poor free throw shooting team. This team's shooting 74% for the year, so that's a pretty good, I mean, that's one of the top free throw shooting teams in our league.
It's going to end a 3-minute scoring drought. UCF, though, still without a field goal during that stretch. And yet Tulsa, despite their woes, 8 points in the first quarter, they are very much in this ball game. Down by a couple of scores.
Looking to hold for the last shot. Hopefully they don't hold it too long.
Shot clock turned off. About to hear the buzzer. Never get the shot up in the air. So a nice stop for UCF to build upon. We mentioned they lead the all-time series 11-7, having won the last 4.
The fight to the top is coming to a new home. Be sure to claim your spot at the new battleground for this year's American Athletic Conference Championship. March 12th to the 15th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas.
American, be undeniable. Undeniable.
Another close one here in the American. Right now it's the visiting Knights on top of those pink-clad Golden Hurricane members by 5. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck. Chance for us to check back in with Bruce courtside. Bruce?
Well, guys, as you mentioned, of course, it is the Play for K game here at the University of Tulsa in support of breast cancer research. And, of course, Kate Yao, the legendary coach and administrator whose 22-year battle with breast cancer inspired millions. If you want to donate, you can actually get involved with each of these teams by donating and scrolling. But if you just want to donate in general, kyao.com. That's kyao.com. And isn't it kind of ironic that here in this game, this Play for K game, we have 2 players with the name KK. For the University of Tulsa, of course, it's KK Rodriguez, and her actual name is Kaylin. That's right, Kaylin. And then there's KK Wright of UCF. Her first name is Cornelia. And by the way, you may not know this, but Katie Abrahamson Henderson, the head coach of UCF, her actual first name is Kay. So there you have it. Guys, if you want any information about kyao.com or these 2 players that have KK in their name, all you have to do is just look at this broadcast and you can find it out. Okay?
Gotcha, Bruce. K. And even Cortasia Sanders goes by K for UCF. But right now the K they're playing for, of course, the late Coach Yao. And obviously this is an easy cause to get behind, not just for these young women, but these communities. So we saw Memphis wearing their pink yesterday, led by Coach Melissa McFerrin in that victory. Cancer, and of course breast cancer, certainly a cause that has touched a lot of families across the country. Tulsa with the first couple of points to start here in the second quarter, back within 3. KK Wright.
Both teams battling in the post. Both teams are working hard. This time they just emptied out the post to allow KK Wright to have a little isolation. Cabo with the rebound.
Wright able to free up. Kaba and company helping give her space, and Wright makes him pay.
Yeah, I think she just had a premonition that she was just going to take that one. I think she wants to speed up the game a bit. She got caught in the pick too, but I mean, it's just a good take by her.
So both teams able to strike on their first opportunities here early in the second quarter.
See, the middle of that zone is wide open. You have to hit her while she breaks in there.
Baseline access initially denied, but able to work it to your pride of Iceland in her sophomore year, and Ella Hrapkilsdóttir. And we've got a whistle on the feed down in the post.
Yeah, Tulsa's figured out, like, if you dribble, penetrate that baseline and occupy that one player down there, that low post block is open, and they found it now twice. So let's see if they keep going to that.
Coach Abe says a lot of folks probably peg her as a defensive coach, but she loves to get involved with the offense. As you mentioned, Tani Valerio helps to lead the way on the offensive end of things.
There's a little size discrepancy with Smith. There was a size discrepancy. I'm surprised she didn't go to work on that.
And you're going to get a defensive foul there on the push from, again, Hrapkilsdóttir.
Smith had Rodriguez, 5'6" Rodriguez on her that last series, and she had a one-on-one and didn't go against her. So she needs to think about that next time. They seem hesitant.
Battle's trying to work it inside, and finally Tulsa's going to get this ball back.
That was an offensive posting foul by Smith. I thought it was kind of normal, but I guess they saw a little bit of extra movement on that.
Hrapkilsdóttir takes a seat. Yeah, the turnover on Smith with the foul. See if they can get it to the opposite wing. Able to get fingertips on it. The steal from Wright. KK up ahead. Able to feed Diamond Battles for the two.
Yeah, that's just their second transition bucket of the game.
Just their second assist of the game. Late to close. Unable to knock down the three. No chance for second chance points. Brittany Smith with the rebound. Gale will miss the three on the opposite end, but offensive rebound for Battles. Kaba on the bench right now for UCF, catching a breather. You've been on the opposite bench from that woman.
I have. When she was at Kansas State, I was at Nebraska, and I don't know. I'd have to look at the record book to see how I did. I think I remember beating her, but
at least once.
It may not have happened,
yeah.
You know. That's why I'm here and she's there, right?
KK Wright, little crossover off the glass, gets her own miss. The putback for KK.
Well, that right there is the epitome of KK Wright. Driving off. She's off kilter. She still goes up with it, and she gets to the other side, rebounds it, puts it back.
She's giving Coach Abe 32 minutes a night. One of the words that Coach used to sum her up was intense.
I'd say dependable, too. She's extremely dependable.
Battles poked one loose, but a whistle will prevent the breakaway layup. And they're going to call her for a foul.
Well, she's already been named, KK has already been named to 4 honor rolls this year. She's a relentless leader, and I think she used the word warrior, and I think she likes that because she thinks the Knights are warriors, so she likes to give those adjectives to the kids, but I mean, when you have somebody like that, it's just, you can depend on her, and that's what she does. She anchors this team.
Hey, you mentioned warriors. She actually kind of hesitated to use the word she wanted to some of her teams. She wanted to call them Knights, not really because of simply the mascot that the school's chosen, but she really believes that a lot of things you'd expect out of Knights, a group that works together, a group that fights together. That's been the mentality for this group that quickly embraced all the newcomers.
I think it's a good mascot just to build off of, right? You know, you could have this bulldog. I guess bulldog is good, but give me a mascot. You're bright.
Bulldogs and Eagles are the most popular ones across the country.
You can give me a mascot that might be hard to build off of, but.
Well, how about a Cornhusker?
Well, that's. How about that? I knew you could pull one out,
sure.
And it's right close to my heart, right?
Yeah,
it was hard to run around with a corn hat on and everything and get fired up, but they seem to do it.
Nice rotation, but not pulling the trigger there beyond the perimeter. And for a closer look, no ma'am. Moskaba reintroduces herself with the block. And now the ball back over to Kaba and company.
Well, that's 20 blocks for the year now. She started out with 18 before the game. That's her second block of this game. And that's what she does. She seals up the middle and says, get it out of here.
The 6'3" junior out of Massachusetts. A talent that Coach Abe identified before taking over in Orlando. I don't know if you noted Mossany there. Didn't have the reverse lights on, but was able to clear things out while backing up.
Yeah, that was a little moving screen, I think, but she got away with it.
Part of a 10-0 run now for UCF.
Yeah, UCF needs to get the ball to Elliott, kind of settle down, get the ball in the high-low game, short corner, mid-post. Any of those options will work right there.
Yeah, 3-second call on Tulsa will extend this drought now, a little under 5 minutes.
Well, this kind of offense, you have to not only look but see, and when somebody's cutting the lane, you got to give it to them before it's too late.
There, a technical here on Matilda Mossman, or a timeout. Yeah, technical. Coach Mossman saw Tulsa score the first 2 points this quarter to make it 13-10. It's now 12 straight for the visitors from the Sunshine State.
Well, I think that's a frustrated coach, which I would agree. I mean, her team's kind of drawn flat here in this quarter. It's been a 13-0 run, and they just haven't found a shot.
I think she believes UCF has gotten away with perhaps a few elbows, and we mentioned even Kaba, the previous possession, kind of clearing things out. Now a timeout for Tulsa. UCF finding their rhythm on the road. They're up by 17.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
American. Be undeniable.
Tulsa still taking advantage of this timeout after UCF has scored 14 straight. Let's check back in with Bruce.
Hey, guys, there's no question about it. Tulsa was a team, and head coach Matilda Mossman definitely wanted to stop that UCF transition. They've done that for the most part in this game. However, coach was very concerned about the elbow defense, felt that UCF was getting the ball at the elbow and then an easy alley to the basket here on their offensive side. The other thing is you've noticed that Tulsa got in foul trouble. Obviously, Kendra and Elliott with 2 personal fouls. And then Rathgal Stoder comes in. She commits 2 fouls on the defensive side. And then Emma Durr, a player that had not played hardly at all, only her first appearance, and she has a little bit of bulk. She has to come in to combat UCF's really physical play, and no question about it for Coach Katie Abrahamson Anderson. She said, play harder, go out there, throw the first punch, set the tone. There's no doubt that she and her team have done exactly that for UCF on the road, which is what you have to do. They've been very effective at that.
Bruce, thank you. Yeah, for Tulsa starting to thin out with those foul issues. Ella came on and picked up 2 whistles in 4 minutes in relief out there, sending her back to the bench.
Well, I can see your concern. They've got 14 points in the paint, and they've been very effective here in this quarter. So, but it looks normal to me that they're really trying to post up hard, and I think more teams need to do that because that's the way the game should be played.
See the rebounding discrepancy that's led to additional opportunities.
That was an off-ball screen for a wide-open layup.
Last 16 points have all gone to the black and gold. And Kaba will haul in her 3rd.
Yeah, I'd like to see Elliott get closer to the basket. That time she was on the perimeter, 20-some feet away.
Well, Matilda Mossman, who again picked up a technical a few minutes back, may have at least alerted the officials to some areas of concern. And sure enough, there was an offensive foul called there on the Knights.
Yeah, I think she's still talking to him a little bit, telling him what to watch out for. I don't blame her.
She wasn't wearing the pink jacket. She has a black and white striped one, I assume, that she'd otherwise be wearing.
Yeah, that's where Elliott needs to be. Now they need to get her the ball.
And, well, now they're going to call it on both ends, of course. Kendra Elliott picks up the whistle. That is her 3rd.
Well, any time you extend your arm and displace the defender, it's a foul. And in this position, she comes and she extends her arm and pushes the defender back. And, of course, KK's been in that position a couple times, and she knew to fall back.
So Elliott back to the bench. UCF led 13-8 after the first quarter. 16-2 edge here in the second period. And a rare rebound for Tulsa. That'll be aided by the foul on UCF. I believe this call will go against Janaea Walker.
Well, Desiree Lewis did a good job of hanging in there, and I think Matilda did a really good job of getting the last couple calls down there because she's been working those officials.
And you take that long walk to the opposite end for free throws. It's the 5th foul against UCF. As we see Destiny Thomas, the freshman from Atlanta, come on.
Yeah, I think Tulsa's in for the fight now. I think they picked up their defense a little bit, and they become more physically aggressive.
Desiree Lewis at the line. First chance to chat about the sophomore from the San Antonio area. She's just been battling through a foot injury much of this year. We've been monitoring her minutes.
She's had 3 double-doubles in her career and 10 double-double scoring games this year.
Right, well short on that shot. Will go out of bounds.
Only averaging 4.3 points this year, but is capable.
Plenty of time on the shot clock, and on the money. Nothing but net as KK Rodriguez drains it.
Why not? Why not? Why not fire that up? That's a good take.
Sky with the assist there, finding Rodriguez, who now has 9 points. Tulsa in transition. And well executed, and a chance for a 3rd point coming up for Georgia Gale.
That's a 7-0 run for Tulsa. And it's a nice run for them as they get it out in transition, hit the open man, and score. So basketball's a game of runs, and they've got a little run going here.
I said Gale, pardon me. Destiny Johnson, the freshman. We've seen some nice passes from Lasky on their last 2 scores. A couple of assists for Rebecca. And that is a 3-point play for Johnson.
I think Coach Mossman can breathe a little easier cutting that deficit up before half.
Right, trying to shake free of the defender. And that one. Big rejection, opts it in. Defense leads to offense, and here come the Golden Hurricane. Punctuation from Destiny Johnson. Timeout, UCF.
Well, a lot more activity on defense right there. You can see a little pep in their step.
Well, they answered a 16-0 run from the Knights with a 10-0 run of their own here at home. Back within single digits, back within 9.
Be undeniable.
Well, this has been a tale of 2 second quarters. UCF trying to get back on track after the 30-second timeout. Both teams shooting free throws after any whistle, and Tulsa forces another turnover. Again, a 10-0 run for the Golden Hurricane. Make that still a 10-0 run. I think Destiny Johnson believes she may have been hit in the nose while going up.
Yeah, she hasn't made it back to half court yet. Here she comes.
A long 2 won't go. Johnson timing the rebound properly.
I like what she's doing for the team. She's really giving them energy.
Unable to make them pay in transition there. KK Rodriguez off the mark, 1 and done. Rebecca Lasky has been a big part of this 10-0 run for Tulsa. A couple of great passes, and then, of course, she had that huge block that led to the transition bucket a couple scores ago.
Yeah, Destiny Johnson, too, over there, the freshman. She's done a lot of good things. There you go again, and she's leading that charge right there, just a freshman.
Johnson just decided to intervene, went in there, and she took another shot to the face.
They're not seeing what she's feeling.
Now, this is not a foul call. This is just stoppage and play for injury. That's 2 straight possessions. Johnson's gone down.
There's the transition, and
yeah, just a finger to the eye there from Battles.
A little scratch right there.
I mean, that is just a couple of possessions in a row that she's taking a shot to the nose and to the eye.
But they're on a 10-0 run, and UCF is 0 for 5 in their last 5 attempts. So I think the energy on defense and their ability to get out in transition, and it really starts with Destiny Johnson leading the charge.
Now, this is interesting. There was not a call of a foul. Again, play was continuing. They stopped for player safety, but now they have gone to the monitor where, in theory, they could determine there is a flagrant one.
Yeah, I think that was inadvertent. I don't believe that she purposely tried to.
They can't go back and assess just a common foul here. And it looked like Destiny took a contact lens out. Our 3 officials coming together. They're going to talk to both coaches. Yeah, contact lens involved, and that may have helped her bounce back here.
She had 8.
Checking that eye.
Destiny had 8 points against Memphis, and I think they saw some good things in that game. I think she's going to be a big future for them because of what she creates and her mentality.
Some of the fans braving the conditions to get to the arena today. Matilda Mossman shaking hands with Coach Ape there at the end.
Well, I've been in that position before, and you're just going to fight for everything, you know. I mean, it's tough, but, you know, Matilda's going to keep fighting.
Very bipartisan of them. Ball is loose. Winds up with UCF, and then a foul on Tulsa. And again, free throws the rest of the way on any loose ball or defensive foul.
It's getting a little bit rugged here in the last couple minutes. More importantly, UCF has not scored in the last 4 minutes, so this will be the first opportunity.
Yeah, both teams have had significant droughts, allowing the other team to make a run. Last 10 points belong to Tulsa. UCF's missed its last 5 field goals. One more here for Thomas. Coach Abe says biggest asset of the freshman Thomas has just been rebounding right now. But continues to learn and grow. Very optimistic about her career over the remaining 3.5 years.
She's got good size, good length, good frame. That's a lot to build off of.
Back to a double-digit deficit for Tulsa inside a minute. Spin, the feed, everything but the bucket.
That was a great dump down.
About 6 seconds separating the two clocks. UCF's going to take most of that time down, it appears.
Looks like they'll do a little high post screen for her and then allow her to dribble drive and get a little. That's a 1-4.
Pulls up from 15. Final shot from Tulsa. It's a walk. Remember, they never even were able to get a shot last quarter.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch people try to close out the quarter and how many mistakes are made in that situation.
See if UCF can get anything. Battles will just sit on it. We have reached halftime. UCF with a 10-point lead. Trying to get back in the win column, improve to 5-4 here in the midst of conference play. In a moment, Coach Abe will join Bruce. We'll hear from both head coaches at the half. We'll hear from Coach Abe here as she is with Bruce Howard. Bruce?
Coach, you wanted to throw the first punch. You wanted to be the aggressor early. Did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to set the tone right away. Just defensively, that's what we always want to do. And you know, I think we're okay. I think we got to get a little better. They're getting in the paint a little bit too much, but we'll try to adjust at halftime.
Siani Martin gave you a nice boost early, didn't she?
Yeah, and we need energy always off the bench. I mean, that's big. They got 21 coming off the bench. She's great energy for them, so she did a good job.
A little bit of a run for Tulsa toward the end of the half, probably more with the carelessness and turnovers than anything else.
Absolutely, our turnovers, and you know, they do a good job of strong side digging, and they got us 2 or 3 times on that, and we got to do a better job in the second half.
All right, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Abe joining us here at halftime as UCF with the halftime lead.
And we'll hear from Matilda Mossman right before the start of the third quarter. Both teams back in the locker room. When we come back, chance to take a look at some halftime stats and highlights.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story so far.
The fight to the top is coming to a new home. Be sure to claim your spot at the new battleground for this year's American Athletic Conference Championship. March 12th to the 15th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas.
American. Be undeniable.
Well, despite a double-digit run from Tulsa in that second quarter, UCF still with a 10-point lead at halftime. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck. Let's check back in with Bruce Howard courtside.
We're here with Vice President and Director of Athletics, Derek Gregg, the University of Tulsa. And Derek, since the University of Tulsa has gotten in the American Athletic Conference, you had really good success, especially those first 3 or 4 years.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very proud of our student athletes and coaches. A lot of people know that we won 18 conference championships, which right now we're either tied with Houston, maybe right ahead of them. We've also come in second 18 other times. So very pleased with the athletic accomplishments and just as pleased with the academic prowess of our student athletes as well.
You know, this morning we had 4 to 6 inches of snow, and that kind of caused a little bit of chaos. School was closed, campus was closed, but you have to have the athletic event, obviously, if UCF is here and if the officials are here. What kind of a logistical, I don't want to say nightmare, but what are the logistics you have to go through?
Well, first of all, we want everybody to be safe. So although we'd like to have a big crowd here, safety is first, is the main concern, and then the safety of the visiting team. So like you said, as long as the team gets in and everything's okay, you play the game. But school was closed, no classes all over the city, and I'm just glad that we had a few people come out tonight.
Absolutely. And on the men's side, tomorrow Tulsa will play host to UConn. Great success, a great run for Frank Haift's team coming into tomorrow night's game.
Oh, absolutely. They're playing lights out right now. We're on a 6 or 7 game winning streak, and I think this will be the last time we play UConn here for a while. So we want to make sure we have a great game with them. We've had a great rivalry with them since we've been in the conference, and we've beaten them 5 times straight, so we want to keep that going.
And last Saturday here with Wichita being very close and some of their fans coming down as well, this place was jammed, over 8,000 people. Majority of them were Tulsa fans. Well, what kind of an atmosphere was that for the program and obviously for the city?
Oh, it's fantastic. And I just want to thank 2U Nation. I want to thank the students, obviously. They stormed the court. They did it the right way. But we love that type of excitement in the building, and we hope to have that again tomorrow night.
On the football side, Coach Philip Montgomery's team was kind of snake-bitten. They were 2 field goals away from actually being a bowl team. What's your outlook on that program?
Well, that program's up and rising, and when he first got here, we had a lot of success, and then we kind of plateaued a little bit, but we expect great things from that program. As you said, a couple of plays, a couple of seconds away from a winning season and a bowl berth, so we're looking forward to getting back to that this year.
And, of course, it was great to see a little bit of a run by the ladies here in this second quarter of play, got themselves back in this ball game, huh?
That's right, and our student athletes never quit. That's what I like about them. They're going to fight hard to the finish, and we're going to defend the home court.
And, of course, you see them in the classroom and doing great work there. If you understand, of course, the small nature of the enrollment here, about 3,300, and with over 300 student athletes, it's about 1 in 10 of our entire student body is going to be an athlete. The mix is just terrific.
Oh, absolutely, and that's very unusual for an institution with a program like this. But everywhere I go on campus, I see our student athletes. We're very involved. Tonight, we're fighting breast cancer with the pink and everything, so we're very involved with that, with the uniforms. So I'm proud of our program. I'm proud of our student athletes.
Dr. Gregg, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
That is Dr. Derek Gregg, the athletic director at the University of Tulsa. And Angela and Lincoln, we're just glad we didn't get clipped by those young players behind us. Back to you.
Yes, and perhaps some future members of the Golden Hurricane or the Knights program on display here at the half. Great chat to listen into right now. The Knights up by 10 at halftime here on ADN.
The fight to the top is coming to a new home. Be sure to claim your spot at the new battleground for this year's American Athletic Conference Championship. March 12th to the 15th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas.
American, be undeniable.
Tell me how I look in the crowd. This is the new regime. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Wanna do the game? Would you remember my name? Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
Be undeniable.
Halftime in Tulsa, UCF took a 5-point lead into the second quarter, able to double that by the half. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck back with you. Take a look at some of the more memorable moments from the opening 20 minutes of play. Already 10 points for KK.
Well, it's good if your name's KK, because KK Wright and KK Rodriguez were the show for both teams. They were the ones making it happen. But, you know, KK did a lot of great things, but most of it came off the dribble, and she laid it right up. But, I mean, that was battles. But both teams, I think they worked best when their defense was creating their offense, and that's what Tulsa ended up doing late in the game.
I mean, the rebounding discrepancy in that first half for the longest time was just absurd. Tulsa only had 2 rebounds for much of that first half. In a moment here, we'll show you some of the numbers, but you know, UCF would go on a bit of a run. Tulsa would answer with a 10-0 run of its own. Here you see some of the numbers from that first half. Finally, Tulsa found a few opportunities, would settle for 8 rebounds in the first half.
Well, Matilda talked to us about they're not a very good rebounding team, and it's kind of sad when your coach says that, but when you get beat 19-8 and then in the paint, you know, the points in the paint were quite, you know, that's 16-10. So, and then also their bench did better. So for them to keep it this close, I mean, I think it's good for them. They did make a nice run at the end, and you know, I think that their transition game was a positive. But KK Rodriguez was a big part of their thing.
UCF, a variety of ways, asserting themselves in the paint, whether it be KK getting in there or Masani Kaba with opportunities. But they only attempted 1 3-pointer the entire first half, 0 for 1. We've only seen 1 triple. That belonged to KK Rodriguez. Her Golden Hurricane right now trail by 10. We'll hear from Coach Mossman start of the second half.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story so far.
Tell me how I look in the crowd. This is the new regime. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Loyal to the game. Would you remember my name? Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
Halftime, Tulsa, as teams starting to find their way out of the locker room right now. UCF with a 10-point edge. A reminder, this just continues our coverage here on the American Digital Network. 1 week from today, we'll see the Golden Hurricane once again, as it'll be breakfast with the Bearcats and the Golden Hurricane. We'll make trips to Philadelphia, Houston, and then dip outside of women's basketball for our first championship coverage on ADN of the new year over in Houston. The swimming and diving championships for both the men and the women. Then back to basketball with a trip to Tampa.
Yeah, that swimming and diving championship, you guys have a lot of fun at that.
Always enjoy once that gets started, because what you don't see there, the next event will then be indoor track and field in Birmingham. It's exciting to see when championships hardware truly on the line, and all that hard work for all these student athletes preseason, during the season, and then finally championship season all starts to culminate. And as you see again, Tulsa making their way back out. UCF already huddled up. Your expectations here early in the start of the third quarter?
Well, I'd like them to really try to get Elliott involved in the offense, but I think Elliott needs to get closer to the basket, and also, you know, they just don't have anybody really rebounding for their team, so they need to get someone down low that can rebound, because it's just not happening for them.
We heard from Coach Abe. Now a chance to hear from Coach Moss. Matilda Mossman is with Bruce.
Coach, you were able to make a run late in the second quarter. What were you doing well?
Well, we were just getting out and running. We forced them to miss a few shots, and we just got the ball out and pushed it down the floor. DJ Destiny Johnson was a big part of that.
Yeah, and you raised up your physicality a little bit, didn't you?
We had to. You know, we were getting bullied, and, you know, we got a lot of people sitting over there in foul trouble, and they've got to play smarter and adjust to officiating.
All right, Coach, good luck.
All right, thank you.
Matilda Mossman, University of Tulsa head coach.
Bruce, thank you. Of course, she picked up a technical along the way, in part to inspire her players, but also to get the attention of the officials. Some calls she thought were not going against UCF with that physicality. But next thing you knew, Tulsa, after that technical, did start to respond with a double-digit run. As right now, a 10-point ball game entering the second half. By the way, it is official. Wichita State has knocked off Temple for a second time this year. This is a conference where the more you know this conference, the more you realize you don't know anything. As good luck trying to predict any of the seedings outside of perhaps number one going into the conference tournament next month. Inside to Kaba. Golden Hurricane hold their ground. Nice job by the Tulsa defense. Into the lane, just won't go down. Rebound hauled in by Smith.
Well, good start for Tulsa. Good looking shot, just didn't go down.
KK Wright trying to take matters into her own hands, as Moss, second chance opportunity. But the Knights 0 for 2 that trip.
I've been impressed with Addison Richards, her physicality inside, and how good she's playing defensively.
And Keitha Adams' women getting the better of Temple a couple of times this year. We saw a red-hot Tulane team. That was the story of the first month of the season, perhaps, but they've now dropped 3 of their last 4. They were winning a lot of close games. Conversely, Memphis was losing some close games, and that storyline certainly flip-flopped last night in Memphis. And Smith is going to be rewarded with some free throws here as she worked her way into the paint.
Well, Smith really does get position, and then she really gets her shoulder leaning in. Look at their bodies, though. I mean, they're so strong. Smith has really gotten a lot of muscle mass in the off season, and she's really getting very physical down there, and she's worked really hard to be there.
See some of the marks on her right arm from that cupping technique that I think really led to some widespread coverage back during the Olympics with swimming. I hate to keep working swimming into this broadcast.
Well, while you're working it in there, Smith's missing some free throws, and she's one of their better free throw shooters.
Determination into the lane, congestion. And UCF empty-handed, and that's just a frustration foul from Kay Sanders. Sanders was the one who worked in the lane, couldn't come away with the score, and then is going to be called for a little bit of a bump in the transition.
Well, good fight by Rodriguez, though, getting in there. She's a smaller body, only 5'6", but she's pretty tenacious.
Sanders sticks around. This is a role that Coach Abe has really believed Sanders has been a great fit. She's moved to the 3, helps lead the press, calls her a beast in transition out there on the floor. Throwing a wrench in the opponent's plans, and that's going to be a defensive foul. Just out of position there for a moment. Gale tried not to commit the contact and thought she had managed to do so.
Well, Rebecca Lesquet, she's really added a good, she's been very active for them, and they've needed that activity.
Yeah, Lesquet doesn't have points, but she's found other ways to get involved. 4 assists and a variety of other contributions that don't show up in the box score, including a big block shot back in that first half that led to a transition score. That's an air ball and ultimately a shot clock violation by Tulsa.
When the other coach mentions your name at halftime, that means something. And this guy's name came out of her mouth, so I mean, it means that she's making an impact.
Smith, meanwhile, with one of the easier scores we've seen. Those are the first 2 points of the quarter. Long 2 along the baseline, no. And again, the rebound down to Sanders. Sanders, the junior, transfer out of Chipola College.
Well, ill-advised decision by KK.
You're going to have to be more specific.
Well, she threw the ball out of bounds.
I meant which KK?
Oh, KK Wright. Okay.
Got it.
But the 3-quarter press that UCF has put on Tulsa has really caused them difficulty. They haven't been able to get in their rhythm yet.
Certainly our thoughts with whoever has to come up with the closed captioning for this. Again, just 2 points in the first 3 minutes. They belong to UCF, up by a dozen. Led by 10 at the half, and a quick foul on Tulsa.
Ellen, number 20.
That'll be the 3rd on Hrapkel-Stoder. We'll note Kendry and Elliott on the bench right now with 4 fouls, as Tulsa has been in an uphill battle with the whistle most of this ball game. This guy fires one out. Extra pass. Shot clock at 9.
Yeah, there's not much time on the clock, and then there's no rebounders in sight. So it's one and done every time.
A nice job defensively by UCF a moment ago.
Well, there's 4 UCF defenders in there rebounding the ball.
Battles will reset the offense with 9 to shoot. You see the battle there at the free throw line. Free throws coming up for Battles, but I don't know if you noticed, Brittany Smith helped take out 2 Tulsa defenders to free her up for that drive. Right at the free throw line.
Well, you call that a direct line drive. Right to the hole. Right at their body. Good take. Sometimes it's hard to do that with a knee injury like she has. You don't really, have faith in your knee, and, that shows good signs for her that, she can do that and not think about it.
Battles at the line where she's been about a 75% free throw shooter this year. 1 for 2 today. Is right at her season average of 5 points a ball game. Young woman out of Winter Haven, Florida. Went to Winter Haven High. Emphasis on Haven during the winter. Doesn't get too chilly. Unlike snowy Tulsa today.
So far, a pretty flat quarter with 6:15 to go. Only 2 points on the board. Make it 3.
And now UCF not even giving Tulsa a free pass across half court. Good job by the Golden Hurricanes staying composed, working their way through it. From the corner, that's a long 2. Inside the arc from Addison Richards.
That was a good touch pass by Destiny Johnson to find Richards in the corner. She didn't hesitate. She threw it down there, and that's one reason she got the shot off.
Mention her move to the power forward role for Tulsa, but still able to produce some scoring. Shot clock at 3. Just need to fire one up now. Kaba unaware of the situation.
Yeah, Coach Abe is showing a little frustration here now. Neither team is able to ignite anything.
3 points this half for UCF, 2 for Tulsa. Again, glass half full is that neither team's allowed the other one to go on a big run during their own drought. Right now that means UCF with an 11-point lead. Well, welcoming some contact, Destiny Johnson, the freshman.
Well, she's gone down, I think, 3 times in the game, and that time she didn't get poked in the eye, though.
Both of her contact lenses appear to still be intact. Down into space to Smith. What a target.
Well, she's a hard worker, right? She just continually works, never gives up on a play. She's so strong.
Nice understudy for what we've seen Masani Kaba do over the years in that similar role.
They don't really have anyone to match up with her, and that's their issue right now.
Yeah, how big is UCF that they refer to 6'1" Janaea Walker as Little Scrappy? Tulsa almost able to force a turnover, unable to salvage it. Do we have a foul here? We do. Golden Hurricane basketball when we come back. Bit of a bump for KK Rodriguez. Tulsa down by 11.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it.
This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
Be undeniable.
11-point lead right now for Coach Abe and the Knights, looking to make the most of their trek from Orlando to chilly Tulsa, find a road victory, they hope, along the way. And even if their offense has had some struggles at times, their defense has certainly helped them maintain this lead. Let's check back in with Bruce.
Yeah, just to add on what you just mentioned, obviously, Coach Abe has built this program on defense. That 3-2 zone is absolutely terrific. And as she says, you know, you play hard, you play good defense, and you're on the road. Defense travels. You never know what you can do offensively on the road. But as long as you play hard and you play good defense, obviously good things can happen for your team on the road. And they've done that today. I mean, look at what the average for Tulsa is right now. It's 35% from the field. And remember, they went the first, 4.5 minutes of this quarter without scoring at all. And that's why UCF has themselves an 11-point lead at this point. It's not offense, it's Coach Abe's defense.
Yeah, great point, Bruce. Of course, if you're Tulsa, got to find more ways to track down that loose ball.
Well, what happens when you attack a zone, you tend to stand around a little bit, and you don't really go after the rebound because you're all on the perimeter and you're not finding the flight of the ball. And so this is a really good team rebounding defense, and everyone contributes.
No offensive rebounds for Tulsa. You'll notice all those rebounds being hauled in exclusively by the women in black. So obviously no second chance points for Tulsa. So 35% shooting has all been on their first effort.
Well, on paper coming in, it's 34-35 on rebounds, but it's not playing out here today.
Right from the elbow.
A lot of standing around by Tulsa. They just got to keep moving, flashing in from the backside of that zone.
Tulsa's 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. That's one more made three than UCF has here today, and they'll never get a shot off here. Wright plucks it away. Eyes up the floor from KK. She'll look to finish herself. Offensive rebound, put back no. Another rebound and a reach-in foul here against Lewis.
Well, that's a pretty easy rebound, because you know when KK Wright goes down that she's probably going to take the shot. So they just keep following her and finding the offensive glass. Good effort.
As Masnikaba will come in. They were already cleaning the windows in her absence. Here's Siani Martin, your fifth-year senior, started her career at Towson in Maryland. Heard her name come up when Bruce had a chance to chat with Coach Abe.
And we've been talking about the conditioning of these athletes. I want to talk about the conditioning of these officials. These officials are strong. I mean, if you look, I mean, this isn't the old days when you had official couldn't get up and down. These officials in the American are all in great shape, and they get up and down, and they need to be recognized.
A lot of triceps and biceps on display with the cut of the men's and women's officiating shirts these days. There was a reason a few decades back, maybe a little bit baggier apparel.
Yeah, they can wear them tight now because they do. I mean, that's one of the trainings they go through, that they have to be in good shape.
Addison Richards at the line. Tulsa within 10.
That's one reason after my career I did not go into officiating.
But anybody who listens knows you're an expert.
Well, of course.
KK Wright off the screen. Ball right now again with Siani Martin, the Philly native. Shot clock at 5. No sweat. KK Wright, 2 more.
She's been short on the last couple shots, and she really pulled the trigger on that one. Got really good finish.
KK's got a dozen. Martin, her teammate, with 10 to go with 6 rebounds as well. 3 different Tulsa players with 7 points, Johnson, Richards, and Rodriguez. And the whistle there on Johnson. That's going to be Destiny's second. Remember, Kendrian Elliott's been on the bench basically this entire quarter with 4 fouls. 2 of her teammates with 3 whistles apiece. Rebecca Lasky will get a breather.
Yeah, Elliott really hasn't had much action. No points, hardly any touches, 1 rebound. And that's, for a team that doesn't have a lot of offense, it's, you can't take a game off,
We started talking about officials' fitness level when we were showing Siani Martin shooting her last free throws. I thought at first you were going to talk about Siani's regimen. But whatever her habits are, sign me up.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, she's a specimen. She definitely is well put together.
And an answer from Tulsa. This time it's from Addison Richards.
Almost like the athletic director said, Tulsa never gives up.
Into Kaba. Oh my goodness. That does not happen often to Moss. The rejection from KK Rodriguez, and she almost thought to add a triple on the other end. Instead, a long two here, no. And again, UCF with the rebound.
Yeah, they just can't buy a bucket, and they certainly aren't getting the second bucket. And then you got KK Wright taking that, and that's money in the bank right there.
Kaba was waiting in case the ball needed to be hauled in off a miss.
I mean, I'm almost run a box and one and just put somebody on KK Wright because you can't give her all those open looks.
And a foul on Wright. There's the second whistle on KK. Austin Kaba with 3 whistles is the only Knight with 3 fouls. Right with her most recent 2. UCF outscoring Tulsa this quarter 13-9. Foot on the line. That is a long 2. Boy, we're talking about 3 toes were on that line for Richards.
Well, it's her senior year. She's given it all she's got. She's got nothing to lose here. 7 games left in the season with the American until we get to the postseason. It's time to get to work, right?
KK Wright was forcing the issue there, working through traffic, trying to get to the basketball. I believe the whistle will be on KK Rodriguez. Some pretty good coaches to lend your ear to there for these women out of Orlando. Desiree Lewis at the line. Mentioned she was a San Antonio native from Converse, Texas, Judson High School.
Yeah, Matilda's had Shane with her for 9 years, and then she's had her other 2 assistants just 1 and 2 years. So she's mixing it up a little bit, and she needs to because she wants to win more.
Right now, her Golden Hurricane trailed by 14 with half a minute to go in the third. And a big screen. They're going to call an offensive foul on Richards. For Addison, that's her 4th.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Blind screen, I think they're calling on KK. I mean, for KK, but it looked like she was set, so I'd like to see that maybe again.
Killjoy, Kendry, and Elliott. And they're just going to say she's not fully committed. Out there maybe a split second late, but that's a close call.
I think they caught her moving.
Shot clock is off. UCF fires one up early.
Let's see if they can get a shot off here. They haven't in the last couple attempts. They just take too long. Here we go.
Destiny gets it to go, and a free throw coming up.
I like that girl. She's that young woman. Freshman. Putting it on the floor and taking it to the rack there.
9 points for Johnson. Second leading scorer behind Richards, who just exited the game with 4 fouls. Destiny can become the second Tulsa player in double digits tonight. 9 points in 12 minutes for Johnson. Coming off the bench tonight. Off the mark there. And UCF just not going to get a great look there as time was melting down. 3 quarters in the books. UCF able to slightly grow the advantage from 10 to 12 after another 10 minutes of play.
The fight to the top is coming to a new home. sure to claim your spot at the new battleground for this year's American Athletic Conference Championship. March 12th to the 15th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas.
American, be undeniable.
Tell me how I look in the This is the new regime. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Loyal to the game. Do you remember my name? Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
Back in Tulsa. Tulsa now coming off its most successful quarter so far with 13 points, but still being outscored by UCF on the night, 45-35, with 10 minutes to go in regulation. Before the start of the final period, let's check in with Bruce one more time.
Guys, there's no question that for UCF, KK Wright is the straw that stirs the drink. But Coach Abe has talked about, you know what, we have to have other players produce. In fact, there are times that the other players kind of stand around and watch KK do her thing. She's such a great player. But Coach Abe has talked about, other players, and obviously inside, Brittany Smith has played very well for UCF this year. Today, Sienna Martin is able to contribute a little bit. And believe it or not, you know what they've done tonight? They've gone inside with their physicality. Take a look at that stat on three-point shooting. When's the last time any team, men or women, attempted only 2 3-point shots? There was a shot right at the end of the third quarter for UCF. That was the second three-pointer attempted by the Knights. No question about it. The physicality, the inside play, big time for the Knights tonight.
Yeah, the three-point shooting just has not been a part of the strategy for UCF. In part, they haven't needed to, with a variety of ways to get into the paint, whether you're feeding Kaba or if you're watching KK Wright drive. Thank you, Bruce. Underway here in the fourth. Knights begin with the basketball. We've only seen one three-pointer in the game. Tulsa 1 for 6. Another rebounding battle won by the Knights, and it leads to second chance points.
I think their interior is wearing Tulsa down. They're just pounding them and getting second opportunities and not giving any second opportunities up.
Kendrian Elliott, who sat out almost the entire third quarter with 4 fouls, is back in the ball game. Richards with 4 fouls will start this quarter on the bench. UCF right now able to expand its lead to 14, but nothing more on that trip. And a foul on Smith.
Well, KK Rodriguez showed her athleticism on that last play when they tried to throw it the length of the court. She just darted inside them and very athletic. Good steal.
It's the 4th foul on Brittany Smith. She'll take a seat. Only one other player with 3 fouls. That's Kaba on the court for UCF.
Well, that'll hurt UCF a little bit. Walker hasn't had as many minutes, just 15 minutes a game. She's scrappy, but not as good as, obviously, Smith.
We talk about some of the regulars over the years that we've seen mature with the Knights, but with all these new faces, Coach Abe will remind you that all these road trips are a first time for a lot of her players. For instance, tonight, a lot of these players making their first trek to Tulsa, taking in, all the routine of practice, shoot-around, getting familiar with the hotel. As Siani Martin chimes in.
Well, the last series for Tulsa, they did get the ball on the low block to Elliott, and she went to work. Now let's do it again.
A walk will turn it over from Lewis. And we had a whistle before the inbounds. We'll do it again. Diamond Battles looks over to Coach Abe. Martin to right on the baseline. She'll call her own number. It's a long 2.
Well, Ellie didn't want to get her 5th foul, but she certainly needs to get out there and try to obstruct that shot.
Yeah, Tulsa has had some open shooters like that, but at times they'll bobble the ball and don't get the shot off. A decent look there from Lasky. Who pokes this one loose. Last touch by Battles, they'll say. Reminder, our next coverage of American women's basketball here on ADN will be 1 week from today, though it'll be a morning edition contest in Cincinnati. A couple of nights going after the block. We'll see who officially picks up the whistle.
Well, that was a nice back cut by Destiny Johnson.
Battles will pick up her 2nd personal. A couple free throws as a result here for Johnson. Destiny Johnson again, 9 points. He's 1 for 2 from the line today. As your point guard for the Knights, we'll head to the bench.
Well, if Tulsa could learn one thing, it's just to get a second shot. Like, it's not about just necessarily the first shot, but it's the second shot. They've only had 1 offensive rebound all night, so it's really imperative that they learn that and take more chances and go after that rebound to get another opportunity.
Able to pass out of the double team. Right, crossover, everything but the basketball. Winds up with Johnson. Will stop and pop. Your KK has practiced that a few times.
Yep, just you got to pick her up quicker.
Timeout. Tulsa. They have seen the deficit grow. 8 of the first 10 points here in the closeout 4th quarter belong to the visiting Knights, who are looking to pick up their 5th straight in this series.
People say we're big. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it.
This is big.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
Undeniable.
Tell me how I look in the This is the new regime. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. When I do the game, you'll remember my name. Countdown. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd. Tell me how I look in the crowd.
Well, UCF looking for its first winning streak here in conference play. Again, they've been alternating wins and losses since mid-January. One of your favorites coming into conference competition this year. A lot of that was because of what they have done in recent years, despite some turnover with some players. Take a look at what is on the horizon. We mentioned that is an 11 a.m. Eastern start. At Cincinnati, Amari Thomas and company will welcome Tulsa to town. Then trips to Philly and Houston to see the Cougars, the Owls, and again the Bearcats before we head over to the pool to crown some of the first champions this year in the American. And Tulsa 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. That's still one more three-pointer than UCF has knocked down tonight. And both feet were outside the restricted arc, successfully taking that charge, Janaea Walker.
Well, just nothing really went right for Elliott. That's her 4th foul. And, I mean, she needs to make a take, but she gets a lot of traffic every time she puts it down.
Yeah.
Or are they bringing it back? No, is that her 5th?
It is the 5th foul on Elliott. So she will be a spectator the rest of this 4th quarter. Remember, she sat almost the entire 3rd quarter. They get 15 minutes out of Elliott. 2 points, a rebound, a couple of assists, but 5 fouls. And a lot of that is an issue forced by the size of UCF.
The size of the game plan, yeah. I mean, their game plan was to converge on her because she puts the dribble down a lot.
But UCF has multiple bodies that they can put on her, not just Masani Kaba. Johnson has been a fun one to watch. She's in double digits with 11. She and Richards, your 2 Tulsa players, in double figures, each with 11. KK Wright with 18 points. Siani Martin's 2 rebounds shy of a double-double with 16 points. A drive all the way to the rim, but they're going to call an offensive foul. It was on Kaba, and there's perhaps a reason why. It was such an easy drive to the basket.
Yeah, probably a little bit of an illegal screen, but a comment to make about UCF is that they're in control. They don't make a lot of mistakes down the stretch. They get the shots they want. They don't take a lot of bad shots, so they're a very difficult team to beat late in the game.
Now, Coach Abe told you earlier this year they're still learning their offensive identity. Not always sure who will show up in addition to KK offensively. This is a Knights team that's now made their last 5 shots until that miss.
I guess she's human.
How dare you. Tulsa in transition. Add 2 more to the resume of KK Rodriguez. Rodriguez now with 9. Stick around here with 4:53 to go in the 4th quarter.
That's a 6-0 run for Tulsa, and I like it. I love it when they push the tempo. It's when they're at their best, and I say shoot it before you turn it over. I mean, get the shot up and try to go get a second shot here down the stretch.
UCF's been able to grow its lead after each 10-minute period. 13-8 after the first quarter. A 10-point lead at halftime. Added 2 coming into the 4th, and tacked on a couple more points here. You noted Tulsa 6-0 run. Look, you can do a lot in almost 5 minutes. Now, Tulsa, of course, is without Kentry and Elliott the rest of the way. But this is doable. Just need some shots to fall, and you need to have some rebounds actually go your way.
Well, if I'm UCF, I'm telling them basically don't take vacation here. They need to wake up a little bit too and close it out properly. And if I understand Abe like I do, that's what she's telling them. Matilda, on the other hand, is kind of unleashing her team, and that's when they're at their best, is when she unleashes them and lets them really just kind of be a little bit more natural.
UCF has not been immune to turnovers. Both of these teams have turned it over 19 times. The difference is that's translated to 23 points for the Knights. It's only translated to 13 points for Tulsa. That is a lot of your difference in this ball game.
Yeah, and the rebounds. I mean, the rebounds, they pretty much doubled the rebound total. And when you double the rebound total, you get, second chance opportunities. and points off of turnovers has been 23-10. So that's really the key in the game. The shooting percentages now are kind of similar, and neither team has really shot the three. So, other than that, if they just need to get a couple kids that will really want to rebound for this team and give them some more opportunities.
Tulsa has not had a lead in this game. We were scoreless for the first 73 seconds, but UCF's been out in front ever since. Then we saw that 10-0 run from Tulsa near the end of the first half to make things interesting. A 6-0 run right here.
Well, if you look at the free throw opportunities too, and this is where Coach Mossman's upset, but they've been more physical, and 13 of 20 for 65% for UCF versus only 9 takes, because Tulsa really hasn't attacked this zone and gotten physical in it. It's a hard zone to attack, but really they haven't gotten it inside.
UCF's road swing continues next weekend to Houston. No game this weekend. They'll be able to rest up, they hope, with a victory. One of the things Coach Abe knew she would get out of her team was a group that was always going to defend their home court, where the Knights this year are 10-1. Last year, they only had 1 loss at home as well in Orlando. We mentioned that she mentioned road trips have been a new experience for a lot of these new faces, just getting acclimated. So far so good here in this maiden voyage for a lot of these women in black and gold to Tulsa.
Yeah, anytime you have to go on the road in the American, it's extremely difficult, and it's not necessarily the crowds. Obviously, there's not a great crowd tonight because of the weather, but it's just being away and having the environment and having the confidence when you're at home. So this is going to be a good UCF win, because they have lost 3 of 4 on the road in the American, and that's not what they're used to from last year. So it's a little bit of a wake-up call for them, and it's a good win for them.
17 points for Siani Martin. 7 of those 17 have come from the charity stripe, where she's 7 of 8 tonight. Mentioned she's still 2 rebounds shy of a double-double. Johnson baseline, another long 2.
Well, I think Johnson's going to get a few more minutes after this game here, because she makes the offense flow. She does a lot of great things for them.
UCF's made 5 of their last 6 shots. Tulsa's made 4 of their last 4. And with that now, Knights 6 of their last 7. Business is picking up, but on both ends.
Yeah, I think both of the defenses are giving in just a little bit and allowing the offenses just to kind of dictate.
And Tulsa without Kendry and Elliott the rest of the game with 5 fouls. Richards on the floor right now playing with 4. KK Wright knocked down a similar shot like that a few possessions back. Transition the other way. Nice feed into Johnson. More of that, please, if Tulsa's going to have a chance here in the final 3 minutes.
Well, nice feed and good hands by Johnson for her to get that and finish it.
Assist from Rodriguez. And UCF, mindful the clock right now, is on their side. Looking to reward Smith. Pass a little too tall for the 6'3" sophomore. And there was determination, but at the same time, Rodriguez plowing right through Siani Martin, who earned this turnover.
That's good defense by Martin. Getting set. Taking the hit for the team, sacrificing the body on the road.
The 5th-year senior.
Coach not letting up on the gas, keeping the starters out there, wanting them to finish it.
Another turnover. Lasky. First 2 points of the game for Rebecca Lasky, who's had some other highlights.
About to put it into a single-digit game here.
From the elbow. And a rebound hauled in for Tulsa. Lewis with her 3rd rebound. Don't look now, but Tulsa is not ready to let this one slip away on their home turf. They haven't led all night, but another 6-0 run. They've made their last 7 shots to make this one interesting, back within single digits. As that one dances around and drops through for Richards. She has 15 points, tied with Johnson for the team high. And again, a reminder, if you haven't had a chance to add it to your schedule, you can rejoin us here on the American Digital Network. Tulsa makes the trip to Ohio to take on the Bearcats. An early start, an afternoon on February 15th. After you blow your budget on Valentine's Day, we'll give you the broadcast free of charge in Philadelphia. And then one more hoops contest at the Fertitta Center. What a beautiful venue. Bearcats and Cougars, and that should be a fun one. Both those teams came into this year such high expectations. And then again, the swimming and diving championships, back to basketball near the end of the month, and we'll be spending Leap Day crowning indoor track and field champions. Of course, Tulsa with always a great distance running program, starting to factor in, looking for more titles in the American individually.
We're so far Tulsa having the best quarter of the game, scoring 16 points in the quarter and getting 2 double-digit scores on the board with Richards and Johnson at 15 points apiece. Rodriguez is right there at 9. So they haven't had that. They didn't have that in the last game, and that's a good sign for them.
Tulsa, with its highest scoring quarter so far, has actually outscored UCF in this period, 16-13. Thanks in part to 7 consecutive shots going down, part of a 6-0 run. And a nice turnaround, good answer from Smith.
Well, coach said in the timeout, let's get the ball inside. Let's get a high-quality shot here.
UCF just needs to hold off for another 80 seconds. Tulsa empty-handed that time. No need to fire anything up for another 18 or so ticks on that clock.
Now look for them to be disciplined. No need to be in a hurry.
AK's got 20 points. Again, Siani Martin was 17.
A little sloppy on the finish here, but credit Tulsa for never giving up, just like their AD talked about. They're persistent and they're attacking.
Foul on Smith. UCF getting closer now to improving to 5-4 in conference. As Coach Abe, again, while a lot of us look at who she has returning, she was mindful of all the newcomers. And that didn't mean the opponent was going to be any more forgiving throughout this year. She still felt like that target was very much on the back of even the new Knights, with the foundation that this program has put in place over the past few years, including last year's runner-up performance in the American Championship. An 11-point lead for UCF. Tulsa not coming out to foul. Dish to Kaba. They're going to let him play. Moss with the 2. And a whistle after the score.
That's a nice turnaround jumper with Smith. She's very strong and persistent and has gotten better as the year has gone on.
Masani Kaba, 4 points, 4 rebounds. Again, this was very much the KK Wright exhibition, along with Siani Martin. Kaba's presence was still felt, though. At times, Tulsa piling up the fouls along the way. Martin will be able to dribble out the clock. Her 17-point, 9-rebound performance, helping guide UCF to a 5th straight victory against Tulsa, as UCF now 5-4 in the American here in 2020.
Well, good battle by both teams. You know, Coach Mossman her team never gave up, but I love the persistence and the control that UCF has They don't take a lot of bad shots. They make good things happen, and that's why they're a successful team on the road, because they do what it takes to get it done.
We'll have a chance to chat with the Knights before we sign off here on the American Digital Network. And we'll see Tulsa in 1 week.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, KK Wright, 20 points. Martin had 17 points. Smith was tough in the interior, 12 points.
Bruce Howard is with the victorious head coach, Katie Abrahamson-Henderson. Let's check in with Bruce.
Coach Abe, you've talked about this. Road wins are tough. This is your second road win in the league, and it was a hard-fought battle.
Yeah, we haven't been really great road warriors on the road, and so we talked about that a lot before we came here. And, this is always a tough place for us to play, and we've played here now 2 times since I've been the head coach at UCF, and Matilda does a great job, and they play super duper hard, and so we're going to take this and run with it.
Coach, you dominated the glass. You allowed only 1 offensive rebound for the TU team. How did that happen?
Well, we work on boxing out a lot, and that was another key to our game. It's funny, you're mentioning all the keys to our game, but that was a huge key to our game.
Obviously, the young lady to your left, Sienna, was just terrific, helping bolster what is the positive, and you always get that from KK, but now she really came through for you.
Yeah, and we talk about balanced scoring all the time, and she got a lot of great shots off her pull-up jumper, and she's really good at that, and we set some really good screens for her so she could just come off that and get some easy shots. So it's nice to have more people in the scoring, and obviously Brittany Smith scored too, but to have more than KK scoring is huge for us.
And you attempted only 3 3-point shots in the game, but your key, or one of the things you want to do, is jam it inside, use your physicality.
Yeah, and the one thing in college basketball that's lost is a pull-up jumper. Everybody either shoots the 3 or drives all the way, and we're the team that's really hard to guard because we can do pull-up jumpers and we can set screens and get a lot of pull-up jumpers. So, we were really successful at it tonight.
Coach, congratulations on win number 5 in the league.
Thank you.
UCF now 5-4 in the league, and we welcome in now Sienna Martin, the young lady from Philadelphia. What about what was going on early in the game for you? You obviously were hot. You were hitting outside shots. What was happening?
Just coming in the game with energy. That's what Coach preaches all the time. Just coming in the game with energy and just letting the game come to you. So that's what I did today. I just, kept getting my shots in the rhythm and kept knocking down wide open shots.
And you also pitched in with 8 rebounds. This is a physical UCF team. That's all part of your mentality, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's all Coach preaches, especially in practice. We just rebound. She's always on me about offensive rebounding and just crashing the glass because I'm able to get those rebounds. So that's what I did today.
Coach is also on you guys a lot for don't watch KK. She's such a great player. Make sure you move without the ball and that sort of thing. You guys getting better at that?
Yeah, we are. As you can see, every game that we have balanced scoring is the games that we win, and we come out with big victories like this. So we just have to keep it going. We have to keep it going for these next road games and home games, and we'll be good.
Siani, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Siani Martin joining us here after UCF gets a big win on the road in Tulsa.
Yeah, Bruce, thank you. And we may have had an AD in first. The Knights with the victory without making a single 3-pointer tonight. Just not part of their game. They found success inside. Big thanks to our entire ADN crew in Tulsa. For Bruce Howard, Angela Beck, I'm Lincoln Rose. UCF picks up their first winning streak in conference play, now at 5-4 after a 62-49 victory against the Golden Hurricane.